Hello, welcome back to Empty Hand, Open Mind. Appreciate you joining us today, and today's topic is going to be on Gasshuku, or actually seminars. Gasshuku was originally formed, and what it means and is interpreted as is basically eating, sleeping, and training together. So it's not Gasshuku wasn't originally just a seminar that you went to like a gymnasium or a park and trained for a few hours or a day and then left, or went to hotels and came back. It was actually camps. And so everybody stayed together, everybody ate together. Often students were assigned cooking, cleaning chores. It rotated each day. Some Gasshukus were a few days, some Gasshukus were a week. Anyway, today there's still Gasshuku, but people don't usually all stay together, eat together, and train together. They mainly have a few meals together, like lunch and dinner, and they have time together during training and then to socialize in the evenings. But today they often stay in hotels or, get VRBOs or whatever, but they don't usually, the entire attendance doesn't usually stay together. It used to be two Gasshukus were held at some university campuses that had dormitories, and it was possible for everybody to stay there, eat there, and train together. And that was its original intent. Today, there's also just seminars, and some seminars last a day or a few hours, and some seminars still last 3 or 4 days. And so I want to talk about that a little bit. I began karate in 1973, and during the far majority of my 53 years in karate, Goju-ryu to be specific, Gasshukus were about building spirit and steel sharpening steel. So there was a ton of exercise and endless kihon. And Gasshuku wasn't a place that you really learned new material or advanced your existing material. It was more about forming spirit and developing spirit and sweating together and pushing each other and trying to extend your limits. So a lot of Gasshuku included tons of physical exercise far beyond Junbyundo. And, it included what they called wheelbarrows, where you held your partner's ankles and they walked on their hands all the way, up and down a park or a football field or whatever. And sprints on the beach or runs up a hill or running with something like chishi in your hands. So just tons and tons and tons of physical work. And that physical work, the far majority of it wasn't karate, it was exercise. And that's okay, especially when it's a large group of varying ranks, varying ages. But that's difficult for people that are in their 60s, 70s, or that are injured. And people pay to go to Gasshuku. And today, that old system of Gasshuku, basically training till you drop, has changed more to an event to learn and to share information and knowledge, and often includes multiple instructors, not just one. Where seminars usually include a specific instructor, and most of those instructors are teaching at a seminar or a Gasshuku that is hosted by a dojo or a country that is affiliated with their organization. A few people, instructors, teach seminars that you don't have to be affiliated with their association for them to come and be a guest instructor. So I would like to talk a little bit about kind of how things are transitioning and karate and the next generation, and just get into ages and who's out there teaching. And this won't be comprehensive by any means. So instructors, very senior instructors who are in their 70s today that still teach, still do Gasshuku or do seminars, who host video instruction, etc., include Baki Sensei and Goju-ryu, and he's in South Africa. Kagawa Sensei of Shotokan, Patrick McCarthy Sensei, still, I think, provides seminars. Koichi Nakasone Sensei does seminars, or was. I'm not sure if he still is. Yonikazu Uehara Sensei from Higona's dojo still does um, seminars, but primarily for TOGKF. Um, Masakazu Kuramoto Sensei also, I think he's around 69. He may not be in his 70s yet, but he's close to 70. So those are kind of the instructors out there that are in their 70s. And hopefully they'll keep teaching for many, many, many years. But there's going to come a time they want to quit traveling, and they don't want to do 2, 3, 4 day Gasshuku, and they're just aging. Higona Sensei reached a time where he decided not to travel near as much, and turned over seminars to younger senior students. And that's just a natural progression in what happens in life. And so now some senior instructors in their 60s that are doing seminars and teaching and doing Gasshukus, but also seminars that vary in time and style, meaning how long of duration the seminar is and who can attend, is a big one today is Sensei Paul Infield. He's been a friend of mine since 1987. Great instructor. You definitely learn when you attend Sensei Paul's seminars. I highly recommend him to anyone. But he's in his early 60s and still has ways to go, thank goodness. And he's out there teaching seminars. And Tetsuji Nakamura Sensei of the IOGKF, he's teaching seminars, but I think is primarily hosted only by IOGKF people. I don't think he provides seminars or Gasshukus for people outside of IOGKF, but I don't know. You could check with them. He's also, 60, 61. A great karate instructor in Shotokan is Tatsuya Naka Sensei. Naka Sensei is phenomenal. He's really open-minded. I've never trained with him, but just the things I've seen and read, how open-minded he is, how he visited so many dojo in Okinawa, how he gets on the floor as a student, how active he is, what a really good instructor he is. But Naka Sensei is definitely one of the best instructors today in the world, in my opinion. And fortunately, he's in his 60s, early 60s. And so he'll be around for quite a while still, too. And then, if you go lower than that, the only one I can really think of, meaning in age, that I can think of that's maybe 49 or 50, so kind of a baby still. I mean that respectfully, I'm just in comparison to the others, is Andre Bertel Sensei. He's out there traveling and teaching. And I don't know if he teaches outside of Shotokan or Shotokai or a size style of Shotokan or not, but he definitely is out there doing seminars in multiple countries and is an exciting young instructor. And so what happens is instructors at some point decide to quit traveling or quit traveling as much. And as such, there needs to be a younger senior instructor with a lot of experience and training that takes their place and that is able to fulfill their shoes. And the best way for that to occur is for those senior instructors who are getting older to take those younger senior instructors with them to Gasshuku and to seminar and let them be a part of and let them watch and see how the senior instructor teaches large crowds. See how the primary instructor engages the participants of all ages, of all abilities, of all ranks. See how they make it personal. See how they make it fun. See how they gauge the level of intensity, how often they break, how long the breaks are. Learn all those things, how to communicate with people and how to listen to people, but still facilitate the time and stay on schedule. There's a lot too, holding a Gasshuku or a seminar, especially with a lot of attendees. And today, most karateka aren't wanting to go to a seminar and pay money and pay for hotels and eat out. And all this added expense and being away from their family and being away from rest after having worked all week to do a bunch of calisthenics and to do a bunch of exercise and to run up and down fields and beaches. And, that stuff's fun for your own organization and for Gasshuku of all ages and ranks, but it also even there needs to be limited. So that can be a good time for younger people, and it definitely builds spirit, which is always positive, but the primary focus should still be on karate. But when people host guest instructors outside of their organization, or even within their organization that has a lot of Yudansha attending, black belts attending, they should be improving their karate. They should be learning and advancing their karate. They should be deepening their understanding of karate. That's what they're really going for. And it should also be fun. That doesn't mean there should be, games and that everything's a joke. Karate is still serious, but it should be fun. You should be forming a social network of peers, like-minded peers that you can share with and discuss with and train with and push each other. But it should be a real learning experience. Everybody that leaves that seminar or Gasshuku should say to themselves, man, I learned this, this, and this at this Gasshuku. It was great. Or, boy, something I didn't know until I attended this Gasshuku was X. But the point is, learning is exciting. And I think that when you're an instructor and you're getting paid to go teach, I think you have an obligation to deliver. I think you should deliver an educational seminar or Gasshuku that teaches people and furthers their knowledge or their understanding of something they already know. You can teach that kind of stuff even in a large group. A lot of people only teach within their organization. Like I'm 66. I don't travel the world to teach. I do teach within the United States, but I only teach our organization, and I only teach at our dojos and our Gasshukus, etc., because of time. If I teach people that aren't in our organization, if I teach outside of our country, the United States, then that's time I'm not spending with my members, with my senior students. That means I'm developing people I may never see again instead of developing people that have been with me a really long time. That may sound selfish, but I choose to focus on the Koryu Koshu Kai organization and its members, not other organizations or other styles. And, in all honesty, even though really, all combat arts are similar, all of us can only do so much with our fists, our elbows, our knees, our feet, headbutting, whatever. We all have the same anatomy, so we all have the same weapons to train with and to do combat. However, body movement, body structure, how something's performed definitely varies by style. So here's an example. I think Shito-ryu is great. I think Shito-ryu has a ton of kata. And there's a lot of excellent practitioners in Shito-ryu. One of them was my Kabuto instructor for a few years, Sensei John Sells, excellent karateka, excellent Shito-ryu practitioner, excellent Shotokan practitioner. He's just a good karateka and good Kabutoka all around. But in my humble opinion, I don't think I've ever seen in 53 years, I've ever seen a Shuri stylist background, Shorin, Shuri, that includes Gojuru kata or Uechiru kata or anyway, Naha kata, that looks like Gojuru when they do it. So when they do Seiunshin, if they do Saifa, if they do Sunpurumpe, whatever kata it is, their body mechanics are not replicate of Gojuru. So it still looks like that kata, and you can still recognize that kata, but the way they perform it, not meaning they've changed the technique here or there, or they do it differently. The Mbunsen and everything is still the same. But the way they move and use their body to perform the kata does not look like Gojuru. So I have yet to see a practitioner outside of Goju-do that didn't have a foundation in Goju-do perform kata in Goju-do kata that looks like the way Goju-do people perform it. And all of that has to do with how you were taught and how you train. And, Goju-do is very, very, very heavy on Hoju Undo, on Kakie, on Sanchin, and all those things connect. So from Junbi Undo connects directly to your karate. Kihon connects to your karate. Kihon Ito connects to your karate. Kakie connects to your karate. All of those things connect to kata, and Sanchin connects to all things Goju-do. Whether it's structure, whether it's framing, whether it's rooting, whether it's heavy muchimi, chinkuchi, springy action, it all those things combined is what makes Goju-do look like Goju-do. And if you don't do all those things, then you can run Goju-do kata, but it doesn't look like Goju-do. Now, I'm not putting down those others, and they have every right to run whatever kata they want. And for their style and their system, it looks good. And it benefits them. And they understand the kata, and they have bunkai, and they can apply it. So it's all positive, but it don't look like Goju-do. Don't fool yourself. I've never seen a Shuri stylist perform a Goju kata that looked like Goju-do. And if you can't see that, if you don't recognize that, then you don't know what you're looking at. And I'm not trying to be offensive. And I think the reverse is true. I don't think I can run Shorin or Shitoru kata and look like them. I didn't have their training. I haven't trained being more upright and fast. I've trained being more heavy, more emphasis on power, etc. Just our training is different. So when you hire a person for training Gasshuku or a seminar, it's important to understand what that instructor brings and what can they offer you, especially if it's outside your style. Okay. Now, I absolutely think that I can learn from other styles. I also think that I can teach other styles and help make even their basics or some other aspect of training better or a different view of it than before I came. And I think a lot of instructors are capable of doing that, especially senior instructors that have trained a really long time with really good teachers themselves. So, but I also want to talk about, it's so important and it has to happen. These aren't very many people that I named when you consider how big the world is and how many people are in the world and how much karate is in the world. So, the instructors that are in their 70s that are still traveling and teaching, they need to be teaching those in their 60s and 50s. And those in their 60s need to be teaching those in their 50s. And those in their 50s need to be teaching those in their 40s. And bringing them up and exposing them to Gasshukus and seminars. So for probably 25 or 30 years, my sensei took me to Gasshuku and had me start teaching Gasshuku. And at first I just did warm-ups in Kihon. And then it advanced to where he assigned different things for me to teach. And then that increased over the years to where I could teach what I wanted to teach. And then it went from me doing 1 or 2 sessions at Gasshuku to me doing half a Gasshuku to me doing 70% of the teaching at Gasshuku, and ending with me doing 80 or 90% of the teaching at Gasshuku. That was all intentional on my sensei's part. He wanted me to take over when he passed away, which he passed away, unfortunately, in 2015. And for years, he prepared me to teach all the members of our organization and all of the students to be exposed to me. So he was a leader that was before his time. He didn't seek the limelight. He didn't have to be out front. He didn't have to teach the whole thing. But also he brought me along to where he kept increasing my responsibility as my experience, knowledge, and rank increased. But it's important for these great teachers that go around the world teaching seminars to prepare the next generation to replace them and to carry on their legacy and to carry on their teaching and to pass on all that knowledge. And it's exciting to have a guest instructor sometimes, and sometimes you get a guest instructor you wish you hadn't invited. But that's how we all live and learn. So, um, regarding, it used to be in the old days, boy, if you trained with anybody but your teacher, you were a traitor. And people, it bruised their ego, and instructors felt like if you went to somebody else or trained at another seminar, that you were basically telling the person teaching that seminar that you don't think your instructor has the knowledge, so you went to him. And none of that's true or correct. That was just insecurity and ego. Um, I can't even count how many people I've trained with and how many seminars I've attended, even outside my style, how many places I visited to train on vacation. Shoot, when I was 17 years old, I rode a motorcycle to 13 states to do nothing but train with different dojos and people. And it doesn't matter who I met. It doesn't matter how good they were. It doesn't matter what their reputation was. I wouldn't leave my sensei for any other teacher because we have more than throw, punch, kick. We have a relationship. I don't have a relationship with somebody I visited or that I'm visiting once. So that insecurity wasn't justified. And unfortunately, a lot of large organizations, especially in the old days, they had all these really strict rules about you can't train with somebody else. You can't go to somebody else's tournament. You can't, practice at a different art. A bunch of you can't do this, 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 and this. Like you weren't an adult and that you're not capable of making up your own mind and living your own life. I'm going to tell you something. If your teacher hasn't told you, I'm going to tell you. And you can throw my advice in the garbage can. It's your journey, man. But it isn't your teacher's journey, okay? It's your journey. And you can train anywhere you want to train. And you can train in as many different arts as you want to train in. Now, do I think that's wise? Usually not. I think you should be really, really proficient in the style, your primary style. Like I'm talking Sandan and up before you pick up another art. The old saying, if you chase two rabbits at once, you won't catch either one. That's true, especially when you're lower ranked and you haven't developed full understanding yet. So, I think judo goes great with karate. I think that jujitsu's, a fun, cool thing to do, and that supplements karate and helps you better understand how to apply Kansetsu waza, joint attacks and submissions and things like that. I studied judo and obtained my brown belt in judo, and I'm really glad that I did. I got tons of value from it, and it helped my karate. It didn't hurt it. But even my sensei, who I loved like a father and was with 42 years, even my sensei made me quit judo to focus just on karate. And that's because I think when he made me quit, I was a Nidan in karate. And he's right. I was pretty low ranked, I didn't have a lot of knowledge then. But boy, I sure having fun in judo, and I really, really regretted having quit. But he didn't want me to train in two systems. He wanted me to just focus on karate, and I did. I trained in karate every day. So, the journey's yours, though, and you need to, be a loyal student, especially if you have a really great teacher, but be a loyal student. But in my personal opinion, and you can do whatever you want to do, you can put a sensei or a head honcho or honchi on a pedestal if you want to. That's okay. And you can let them tell you what to do and what you can't do and who you can hang out with and who you can't hang out with and where you can train and where you can't train and who you can visit and who you can't visit. But that's not my life. I'm going to go where I want. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to train where I want. I'm going to befriend who I want. I'm an adult man. I provide for my family. I support my dojo. I support my teacher. I support my students. And nobody's going to tell me what I can and can't do. As long as I'm being moral and ethical, I answer to a higher power anyway, God. My teacher was never my God or put on a pedestal. And my teacher wasn't going to dictate to me. He had a right, because of respect and what he did for me, to tell me his opinion, to share with me what he thought I should and shouldn't do. He never misguided me. He never misled me. But from the time I became an adult and supported myself, the decisions I make in life, it's great to discuss them with someone you love and respect, but the end decision's yours. And this journey in martial arts, it's yours. And its path is yours to decide. Now, I'm all for you and encourage you to be loyal to your dojo, to be loyal to your sensei, to be respectful, to adhere to the traditions of Budo. But you also got to be your own person. And in the end, this journey is for you. So make it your own. Just like eventually you'll make the kata your own. That doesn't mean you'll change them. That's the rei in Shuhei. You don't have to break from your teacher. You don't have to change the kata. That's not what breaking away means. But it means that eventually you make the kata your own. You make the style that you've learned your own. You're not changing the style. You just made it your own. So I wanted to talk about the responsibility of preparing the next generation of teachers. I wanted to kind of mention real quick the ones that are out there right now, and I've left out a lot of them, but that they're in their 70s and they're in their 60s, and that we got to develop teachers to teach the next generation, and also to give more thought and consideration to your journey and what you want it to look like and what you would like for that journey to accomplish for you and how it can enhance your life. But don't have regrets and train all you can, especially while you're young and healthy. Train all you can without neglecting your work and your family, of course. Anyway, as always, I wish you the very best in training. I hope that you are pursuing the path that you desire. I hope it is achieving or helping you achieve the objectives you set for yourself when you began it. Thanks and have a great week.